Hello, hello, hello. Today is October the 17th, 2022. Trading and investing of any kind carries risk. Everything discussed here is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken as financial advice because I don't give advice. Now, let us look at the day today. What a day, what a day, what a day. So what happened? Well, a couple things. One thing that I'm really hoping plays out is this, first and foremost. Push us back up here to 78.6, 88.6%. So we kind of got the start of a push for that today. That's one of the things I'd definitely like to see play out. Get us back up, somewhere around 374, 376, give or take, 10 points from where we are now. Another thing that would be nice to see play out might be something along the lines of here, which would be a cipher pattern. And so we could push up, 380 to 384. That'd be nice. So, based upon the way all of this has been playing out, it's been kind of setting up this way. We had that move today to kind of start pushing us in that, that direction. That's good. We just didn't have a lot of money come in, so once we kind of got that initial push, we really just sat there all day long. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. So early in the morning, we had this, this cipher pattern basically play out. So we had this push, gave us that pullback, gave us that push, gave us this pullback to complete that cipher pattern. So that should take us to, that should take us to around 7%, retrace, roughly, exactly. So, right, so there's that retrace, which led us into this, which looks to be a cipher pattern as well. Let's see. That pushed to 88.6. So anyway, we could actually measure it from down here if we wanted to, and probably get more of a crab pattern out of it if we wanted to go that route. So either way, we had this cipher M pattern that pushed us into this W pattern that could be one of a couple patterns, just depending on where you measure it from. So inside of this pattern, though, we had, if I recall correctly, we had a shark pattern kind of set up inside of there too. So those were really the only two trades you kind of had today, right? So you had this cipher pattern that played out. Could have played this leg here, or you could have played, the reversal on it. But that reversal actually set up fairly nicely because it actually was this W pattern here. The problem is how long it took this stuff to play out. It took a while. It was choppy, 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 choppy. So let's take a look at this on lower time frames. Let's zoom out, do a thing here. We get this initial push, get this pullback, push, get this pullback. Honestly, this could really even be considered a bit of a head and shoulders if we wanted to look at it that way. If you're not playing harmonics and you don't know how to play harmonics, you could have played that as a head and shoulders because it kind of acted like a head and shoulders, but I don't know, that's a bit of a stretch maybe. So harmonic pattern wise, M's and W's, basically we had this push like I showed on the other here, which created that M, and then we had this W that followed. So those were really the two plays, and typically how would you play those? If you're not fully understanding harmonics, I would say you do this, kind of figure out where that pull might be. Also, if you were to zoom in, so this is the thing about how patterns play out. So when patterns play out, they tend to have other patterns inside of them, and this is how it makes entries easier. So if you look inside, we had a couple of things that happened in this big M that played out. So we had this shark pattern that set up right here. Sorry, that's not true at all. We had this shark pattern that set up here, pushed back here, and then it took a while, but it made its way, way back down. Okay. If you understand a shark pattern, that's practically what that was. So inside of these patterns, though, we have these other patterns, and this is how we understand entries. And you have this shark pattern that played out, which is kind of a W, but it's a really goofy W. And so if you pay attention, though, what you find is this W, which pushed us here. If you wanted to get even closer here, you get additional patterns that set up inside of these. So down here, you had this W right here, kind of played out. Find something that actually is bright enough. There we go. So yeah, and that W turned us, that W helped produce this bigger W, and so on and so on and so forth, till we get this cipher pattern that we looked at. So we got the shark pattern that helped complete this cipher pattern, gave us this pullback, and it was not pretty. I mean, a lot of the stuff today was not very pretty. And then what I was getting at before, when we get to the top, where do we enter for this big cipher pattern? Well, we could enter here for the big cipher pattern, or we take this W, we watch it push, we look for a decent reversal, and we look, and here, there's some signs of reversal, but it's not too crazy. It's not a great sign of reversal. But then we get up to this other edge, and what did we do? Well, we ended up making another M at the top here. So what do? We take, draw some trend lines up here, and then we kind of enter here, or we can look at this reversal at the top. Pretty clear reversal. You get to this zone and you get this big wick here. Pretty clear reversal. And here you had some as well, so I don't want to negate that. But anyway, so you get this double top pattern basically. Then you get this pullback. So you enter based upon that, right? Based upon this M up here. And then you just play it, the way you normally would a smaller M. And then all the while, you're also kind of zooming out a bit and watching this bigger one play out. So what you might want to do is create, a handful of measurements if you're going to use Fibonacci's stuff, and just kind of see, where did we slow down? Where did we stop? Well, we stopped definitely around the 61.8. Well, we pulled below it actually, which is pretty wild. So we pulled below 61.8. So where would we measure this to actually have stopped at 61.8? It would have had to be measured further down. So ignore that. So yes, we get this 61.8 around this area. Right, so all right, so there we go. We get this pullback to 61.8, and then we get this push. Right, so when we get that push, what happened next? And we got another pullback. So that might scare some people, right? You get that push, but if you watch, you look at what's going on in here and you zoom in, this is why sometimes these trades are not scary. So you get this and you get this M. This M gave us a pull. Well, after you get these pulls, what typically happens? You get a reversal. But if you notice, there's not really a reason to be out of the trade. And I say that because, we haven't even come close to being up here. Now, would I have taken profits at 61.8 in this area? You better believe I would have. So then you get this M after. Well, that M, kind of gives you another reason to re-enter in short or even scalp if you want to. I know that sounds kind of crazy to some people, and that's fine. If it sounds crazy, don't do it. So on your initial trade from up here at the top, if you got in at the top, that's where you would start taking profits, right? If you got in at this reversal zone. Otherwise, you could start drawing trend lines this way across that middle point there. And that's another place to enter. You could enter at the reversal zone. You know, just kind of, I'm pretty aggressive, so I tend to enter where I know it's going to turn around. Then you have this place right in this area where if you look, once it got past this trend line, it kept going. Then you got these other areas you can enter as well for the bigger move, right? So we got this move. Now let's look at this bigger move. Let's just say we're measuring this bigger one from right around here. So there's another place you could have entered. That's not as cool though. I don't like that place very much. Let's see where we actually opened. Okay, so we didn't really get to the open until this area, give or take. Let's go from here. See what we get. Yeah, there we go. And this is where it just looked choppy. You know, there wasn't a good place to enter necessarily here just by drawing trend lines. At least that's the way that I'm seeing it. And I'm not going to continue to overanalyze it. But anyway. Yeah, so this is why it's important to zoom in a bit and start looking at these other patterns. So now you've got an entry. And let's say you entered up here. You took profits around 61.8%, right? And you let all this stuff do what it was going to do. You didn't get scared. Right, because you saw these other things setting up and forming, right? You saw this M right here, and you saw this retrace, but it retraced basically it to a double top. And then, you know, just went sideways, just got choppy and choppy sideways. And if you look, the volume supports this, right? I mean, the volume just started dying off after all these moves in the morning. So then you get down here. What did we set up here? We tried. Well, actually, we built this W. And then in building that W, set up this larger W. So here's the thing. All day today, I know I was, and I'm sure a lot of other people were as well, we're looking for this bigger M kind of play out.
Market data connection lost.
Right, that's kind of what I was looking to happen today.
Market data connection reestablished.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot. So yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for to happen. Well, it never happened, right? We got this midpoint to push us back up to create the right shoulder of that M, and the M just never really happened. We just trucked sideways, you know, stayed mostly above VWAP the whole time and just kind of boing, 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 bounced off of it. Now that doesn't mean there weren't trades, because there were trades. Absolutely there were. So trade here, there's a big W there. If you were to measure that out, double bottom, right? But it pushed 1.272, like there's W there. Could have traded that. But these are scalps, right? So if you don't know how to scalp on a day like today, don't know how to scalp, and you missed this initial handful of moves, a handful meaning like 2 or 3, trading was probably not the smartest idea. It might not have even been the smartest idea in some of these moves because you probably got a little bit shaken out just because you were nervous. If you didn't, congratulations, that's fantastic. But that's typically how it goes, right? Especially if you're a newer trader. So now let's look at, actually, no, I already talked through that, right? What the overall idea of what I want the market to do and what I think the market may do. So we'll see tonight. We'll check futures, right? We'll look at the futures market and we'll see what happens. And we'll see how this plays out tonight. If it starts to play out well, maybe we'll play futures, maybe not. If not, we look at tomorrow morning, we check the futures, we look at what patterns were set up overnight, and then that's what, you know, we kind of rely on that and we look at what's kind of being traded and what's playing, and then when the market opens, we do what we need to do. So yeah, that's today. So hope everybody's well. I like making these videos. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, do all those things. I would really appreciate it. Tell people, you know, whatever you feel. If you don't like something or you like it, let me know. Let's talk about it. I'm happy, you know, to get questions and, you know, change this up a bit. But, you know, mostly I make these videos for me, but I figured, as I said before, I'd just start making them for everybody else too. So have a great afternoon. I will see everybody tomorrow.